So with bike size tube you have for each different size wheel of a bike. I will run through Tim's bike and show you how to take off front wheel and the rear wheel. Sometimes the front is really easy, but when it comes to the rear wheel, it's there's an easier way, you know. I'll go through that, and then I'll do a quick. Tim brought his wheel along, so I'll just show you how to change a flat, and I'll go through the what's in the bag of goodies for what you need to carry. So I think I'll start with that. Granted, there's tons of bags out there in the market. This one is Inertia, has been the famous one for years because it's compact, carries quite a bit. Generally, the rule of thumb is 2 or 3 tire levers. These are plastic coated steel ones, which they stand up a little better than the plastic ones that will break. Your tube, and various bikes that you'll have will be a Comfort, which will be a 26, hybrid at a 700C as it's called, and then a road at 700 by 18 to 23, which 18 to 23 is the width, and 700 being the circumference. You can carry a hand pump or CO2, which is a cartridge, just CO2 cartridge. These are used for anything from paint guns to bike tubes. As you can see, I've got tons of them in here. This is my own personal one. I generally carry 2 tubes, 2 tire levers, 4 CO2s. Generally I'm helping other people on the road, so I bring extra. And tire levers. So it fits nicely in there. Another thing to bring is you can put a little bit of money in there. It's always helpful. Your cell phone. You never know, you might get stranded out there. A cup of coffee goes a long way. And it all tidies up. And it's just around the seat post. Well, there's one on yours. Just around the seat post and around the seat rails it goes, and it's just compact. This is reflective, but also I advise, and as most bikes we have, is a safety light. Planet Bike makes the Super Flash, which is again, there's tons of lights out there, but this is one of the best ones out there. It's super bright, you know. And you can have flashing mode or standard and an off, you know. So it does add a bit of weight to your bike, but beats walking, you know.
Do you recommend the flashing light even during the day?
Absolutely, yeah. Just, you know, it's a couple of batteries, and
so it can be seen.
Can be seen.
In the daylight.
I mean, I think that what we're running into these days is texting, and you see it all over the place. That split second, that you gotta have something that they can see, you know. And the bright jerseys can work. Reflective strips on the bikes and stuff, but generally the flashing light is king, you know. And just don't hesitate to ask questions of anything on a CO2. I will refer back to the CO2 for a second. It's basically, you just pierce it. It's got a little pin in here. This one is spring loaded, so you hear this. And it'll work for Presta or Schrader, and these are like $2 or something like that.
And that'll pump up the tire?
Generally on a road you may need 2. If you've only got 1 cartridge, you put as much as you can in there to get you home. Hence carrying good fuel is always helpful.
Oh, you want to tell them, when you use one of those on the road and get home, you're going to have to pump up your tire again because...
Pump up your tire and and then just put them back in your bag, and you see people tossing them on the side of the street. It's not good.
What's the purpose of those 2 metal things that you took out? The very first thing you took out of the bag.
These?
Yeah. What was that?
Tire levers. I'm going to demonstrate now how to do a flat. So what I'll demo first, I'll use this as the wheel for the flat, but I'll go right here. Generally, most bikes on road bikes will have a quick release. It just gains you a little bit of distance on spreading the brake pads out. And then there's a couple of ways you can do this. You can lean over the front of the bike, or sometimes it's best just to lean the back wheel up against a wall or a tree or something. That gives you a bit of balance. And then the curve of the skewer, as it's called, which holds on the front wheel, always faces into the spokes. Now the goal of this is you don't want it facing that way because it's easy for something to catch in it and open it up. So up 12 o'clock, back 3 o'clock is all good. And it's just a matter you can hold the left side, unravel the right, and this should just drop right out. It's got to have a good tension on it. Over tightening it, and you can easily under tighten it, which is not good. So it's got to have a little pressure on your hand as you're closing the skewer handle. Very important to center the wheel through the fork blades, right through here. Last thing is you secure down your quick release on the brake, squeeze the brake caliper, and the last test is spin it, that there's no contact. You don't want magnets hitting the sensor guide here or wheel rubbing the inside of the fork blade. So that is front wheel and removal and putting it back on. I'll do the flat repair now and then I'll go back to removing the rear wheel. So over the years people have said you either change it from opposite the valve. I've always believed in starting and finishing at the valve, because there's one little procedure that you do at the last thing. And generally, tire levers, you can use 2 or 3. You want to start close to the valve, and a matter of just hooking. As you can see, the tire lever is kind of beveled like a spoon. And then if you start like too far here, you're not going to get the other side out. It's got to be close to where the crease is. Fold it over. And actually this one, if you wanted to start as a spoke, it's got a little hook for the spoke for it to go in there. And just small increments. And what I'm doing here is use my thumb to push back on the tire. And then you can also run the tire lever all the way around. Again, opposite the valve, reaching in, you see the tube in here, drag out a bit, and then we'll just keep dragging out. Pull back on the tire, expose the valve, neck, and tube. That's your old tube. Again, fold it up, put it in your shoes packet, and as you're on it, you'll see tubes on the side road. And again, we're not litter bugs here. So next procedure is checking the inside of the rim strip, that there's nothing in here, that there's no metal showing, and also lightly you can rub finger on the inside of the tire. If that's not, if you say, well, I'm going to cut myself on that, you can just glance and look and inspect the inside. This is really a kind of guarantee. Just do it very slowly.
And why is that important, Teelo?
Leaving wire, thorns, glass, stones exposed in there. You put a brand new tube in there, you're 5 feet, it's gone again.
The outside tires also go at some point.
Excuse me?
The outside of the tire can go too.
Absolutely. If it's a weak, the center ridge of these they'll flatten out and they'll wear. And it's good to just inspect, because even though you're rubbing on the inside, like what I'm doing is not just looking around and checking it, I'm looking to inspect that there's nothing on the outside, like a cut or a piece of glass. You know, every couple of weeks you can inspect your spindle wheels, inspect them, make make sure that the air pressure is good. Very important, every ride. It's just so crucial to get air in your tires. And you just inspect it. A new tube, of course, can be folded up in a box, like so. And it's going to be flattened out like that. Now, you just don't want to put this tube in that tire while it's flat, because it has a tendency to just twist on you. So, a couple of methods you can use if you have one of these, which you're not going to have one, but a CO2, you can use a little bit of air. Just pump a little bit of air and I'll get the CO2 again to demo. Or you can just a fork.
Wow.
Just a fork, you know. Or so now you know you're not going to get any twists, you know. Look for the valve hole. Peel back the tire. See that exposed? Drop it in. Fold over the tire. And all you're going to do now is feed it. Now you have it in there, you can let out the excess air. It'll be easier to get the tire back on. Again, opposite valve. 2 hands squeezing over. Always looking and pushing in the tire, because if I just push on that, you're going to see I'm going to pinch it. It's going to trap the tire and tube. So constantly looking and feeding. And the idea is you want to equal each side. So you finish in about this area of the valve. This spot, there's another technique you can squeeze around the tire, kind of closes up the space.
Yes, and now, ladies and gentlemen, all the easy parts of changing a tire are done.
And then 2 thumbs, pushing and kind of folding over each side. It's easier as you do it. Each side, and then until it finally pops over. But I'm going to show you something. The last little piece of this is, I don't know if it did it on this one, but generally what the tire will do is sit on the valve, and what you have to do is just push up on it. If it stops, like if it wouldn't move into the tire, you know you have a problem. The tire is sitting on the top of the tube, so it's got to move freely up in there. And then CO2. Press the valve always has to be loose. And this canister is probably dead.
Everybody know the difference between a press the valve and a Schrader valve? The Schrader valve is like on your car, you know, those kind that put the air in and it just pushes the thing in. The press the valve is a little tip that sticks out that unscrews. Not the cap, but right inside. And you have to loosen that before you can put the pump on it and put air in it.
And you are aired up, and just inspect the sidewall that it's not overlapping the rim. You're ready to ride. Skewer generally all stays on the left-hand side, non-drive. Drive side is the chain, crank side. Just easier to remember.
What was that again?
Skewer. Generally, you will keep this on the same side.
I was just saying chain up.
Tire direction, and it's just easier to remember that it goes on this side. Any questions on?
You went very quickly on the inflation with the cartridge. I think that only took a second or 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just a spring loaded. I mean, just an air chamber. I just screwed this in, broke the seal. You know, if you leave this in your bag, it's going to